And I would like to welcome everyone to our bi-weekly college council meeting. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of San Diego City College. College council is the highest level of governance at our college, and so joining us are amazing leaders from across our campus. You can put forth an agenda item one of two ways. One way is email my office, either Tia or Angel, and/or email one of these amazing leaders that are representing our college or college council. If there is an item that you would like to discuss, I'd like to also acknowledge that San Diego City College sits on the ancestry homeland of the Kumeyaay Nation. We recognize the Kumeyaay people, past and present, and their land with honor and gratitude. We are going to begin College Council with a roll call. Mona is the President of the Academic Senate.
Present.
Nick. Tilly, Andy's standing in for Tilly, and Tilly is in the. Oh, Sasha. I told you I was going to get mixed up. Andy's standing in for herself, but before I introduce Andy, one of our amazing deans, Sasha Knox, is standing in for Tilly Chavez. Sasha, welcome. Please lay my mind to not my heart. Robbie is the Dean of Information and Learning Technology.
Present.
Caesar is the Public Information Officer. Daniel is the Supervisory Rep.
Present.
Suna is the President of Chairs Cabinet. Susan is the Dean of Institutional Effective and Co-Chair of City Planning. Susan wins the award for the longest title. Andy is the Administrative Rep.
Present.
Filling in for our ASG President, I believe, is our Vice President, Alexandra. Nice to see you. Welcome. You're the reason we are here. John is the Vice President of Administrative Services.
Present.
Marciano is the Vice President of Students. Here. Sean is the President of Classified Senate.
Present.
Marco is the Coordinator of Professional Learning Council. And Itza is the Ideas Rep. And Nick, I called your name, welcome, the President-elect of the Academic Senate. He's here. These are the leaders of the constituency groups here, highest level of governance on our campus. And if you would like to bring forth an agenda item, you can work with one of these amazing people. The second item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from November 18th. Someone like to make a motion? They're a brave soul.
This is Sean, motion to approve.
I got a motion by Sean and a second by John. All in favor, any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone want to abstain or object? Hearing none, motion passes. I am going to ask the vice presidents to join me if they are inclined with the information item for number 3, which is beginning in January. We are going until April 3rd, I believe. We are going to pilot a 36-hour work week on the campus. If you were to Google or put in ChatGPT or just do research, visit the library, do some research, you would find that a lot of countries have a 32-hour work week, 4-day work week. And I commend our classified professionals, our district, for moving in this direction as we seek to have some sort of work-life balance after a global pandemic. Keep in mind that outside of peak registration, many of our student services offices will close at 1 o'clock on Fridays. On a typical college campus, this is my 5th one, Fridays are very slow in general. What this is likely going to result in is that the student services offices, or all of the offices rather, will close on Fridays at noon. Caesar and his team are going to be sending out a communication. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to be shooting a video after this meeting where we will communicate this to students. Certainly with any change, we are going to be collecting data. We are absolutely interested on the impact on students to this closing. I believe that this is the right thing to do for a number of reasons, most of which deal with getting to a place where we adjust our hours where people work to reflect where students actually want to be served. And I don't know about you all, but anytime I need to take my daughter to the doctor, I need to take myself to the doctor, I've got to take a day off or adjust my schedule because most doctors' offices are open during the same time that many of us are supposed to be at work. Well, imagine if the doctor's office was open from 6 to 8 or 6 to 9, then I wouldn't have to do that. My daughter wouldn't have to miss ballet, and just what becomes this huge challenge to try to do things that are basic necessities. Now, we're not there yet, but what we will do is pilot over the start of the spring semester, what does a 36-hour work week look like? Now, there are some offices that will have their own unique schedule. Let me say it that way. They will have their own unique schedule. Athletics is one of them. We know that there are sporting or athletic events going on Fridays and Saturdays. And so we will work with those specific departments now that have a need to work. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be events on Fridays afternoon or 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock. That does mean, though, that we're trying to pilot this to see how do we adjust our schedules to meet the student needs, but also meet the needs of our wonderful colleagues. And so that is going to happen in the spring. Yes.
The PD coordinators had briefly discussed what impact, we don't know, what impacts this would have, especially on, well, I guess for classified professionals, because it's already a tight squeeze to find time to attend PD. And so we are going to discuss in January how we want to monitor as well.
Yes.
In terms of how that impacts the ability, because we have opportunities, but sometimes accessibility is not always there in the 40-hour work week. And if it gets reduced more, it's having a discussion with, I guess at each college level, how we can be more intentional in providing the time for classified professionals to attend, because the time is already very small, and with 36 to 32, if it goes that far, it becomes even smaller.
Yeah, and Marco, please do so, and we all should be monitoring this. One of the discussion points that I have with the supervisors and managers when I met with them is we may need to look at, we're going to need to look at a different model, right? And one of the models we may need to look at is maybe on Fridays, instead of the offices open at 8, maybe they open at 9. And that first hour is where PD occurs. The other thing that could happen is instead of closing at noon, maybe the offices close at 11. And that time between 11 and noon is where professional development occurs, right? So I'm optimistic, very much so, that with this team that we will face some challenges and we'll overcome them, we'll pivot, we'll adjust. We led this college during a global pandemic when many of us never thought we would be offering services entirely remotely. We have so many examples. I love to use Robbie and his team that really pivoted and helped students access library resources. Certainly the folks in the library pivoted and figured out a way to continue to serve students. And so I'm sure we'll be able to. There will be challenges, there will be concerns, and we should forward those to my office by way of your dean and or your vice president. Other questions, thoughts?
I wanted to share from the Classified Senate. We'll be offering open office hours throughout this pilot, and we encourage anyone on the campus that has any input or needs to discuss anything with the Classified Senate that will be available for that.
Any other thoughts? Hearing none. Please share this information with folks. We will have Caesar, we'll send it out at least 3 times between now and the start of our winter session. And I'm going to be doing a video for the campus here shortly to send that out to our colleagues. I'm going to turn it over to Marco to talk about item number 4.
All right, cool, thank you. In your packet, you have what will end up on the screen. This is just, informational, for our job shadow program that we have as part of, the career pathway series in professional learning. But in your packet, if you get to the first part, I'm just gonna look off of this. This is our, essentially it's our program outline and packet. It has the description of it. The purpose of the program is to allow employees at City who are interested in leadership positions, formal, like with a title, and informal, if they want to learn more, have an opportunity to shadow our vice presidents or President Shabazz and learn about their specific role. But then the things that they do behind the scenes that we may not always see every day, how they make decisions, how they communicate, how they manage, either if it's enrollment management or if it's fiscal management, how they do those things, what spaces they're in, and then to have opportunities to meet with them one-on-one. In the group settings like executive cabinet, coming to college council, their specific meetings like instructional cabinet, or if it's the, John, what's the council, the resource planning?
City Resource Council.
City Resource Council, so they get to go with them, and they get that background about how they're preparing for that, what they're doing, what they're looking for, and then how they communicate with different constituencies. And so it occurs over the course of a semester, so it's in the spring semester. The packet also has the QR code, and it's on our professional learning page as well, how you can apply to participate by selecting or ranking which of the individuals you would most like to follow. But this really is just an opportunity to provide some professional development for our individuals here on campus. There are many opportunities like this statewide, but for a campus level, this is something that that Ricky promoted and like to see. And so we've been continuing to modify it. Some of the things from the Job Shadow program that people most like, it's really the one-on-one interaction they get when they're meeting with either Vice President or Ricky, where they can talk to them about their personal goals, look at their resume, and they get resources are shared with them. Those are some of the most valuable ones. And the things that everybody likes to know about is how our resources allocated and what's enrollment management. And so those are some of the things that came from our last group from the spring. Questions, things they really liked, the one-on-ones, but then also we'd like more of this, which I think a lot of people in general ask those types of questions. And just briefly before I show you, well, here's our interest form. It closes Friday. So if either you're interested or you know of somebody who's expressed an interest in learning more, they can apply and it will close Friday, and we'll be able to select and contact people before the end of the semester. But the packet that you have here, we've developed essentially all the activities that we have align with one of the outcomes and objectives that we have in our program. There are 3 outcomes, and then there are several different objectives. And those just align with, if you go further into the little packet, if you're interested in the schedule of events that we have outlined for the semester, they have little numbers there. This is something I like, as it keeps track for me. If someone were to ask, why do you do this one thing? I say, oh, it's tied to this thing that we outlined. That's an objective. There's little numbers and brackets. You can see the activity is aligned with that. So that helps keep us on track, and that we're meeting all of the things that the participants said they would like, but then also that our leadership team have expressed interest in being able to share with our participants there. And so this is just a little PSA for our Job Shadow program that happens each spring. So if you know somebody or yourself are interested, you're welcome to apply. And we keep adding little things every semester to make it a little bit more comprehensive. But if you have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, I'm finished.
You know, I think one of the things that's come out of this is students are now, because we have a lot of students who are Nances, and we had the last go around one of our students who was a Nance go through it, and it's a very different program for students versus employees. Not to say that our students who are Nances are not employees, because many of our particularly classified professionals start as Nances. And so what I've asked Marco to do is to get with Roger and design a student version of this that could be more student friendly, because we do get into the weeds with the employees at a level that is different than what I would do if it was a student who was going through this. And so hopefully in the spring, maybe too ambitious, but in the spring we'll design what a job shadowing for students could look like, and hopefully launch it by fall semester.
One thing to add, Rick, I forgot. So this is, at the highest level of the college, we have this job shadow program, but I am potentially using this template to work our way down. To allow job shadow, folks to job shadow a dean, but then also a supervisor. So individuals, so most people who are doing the job shadow program are either a faculty member or a classified professional, and then they go all the way up. Now they're shadowing a vice president or president. Well, there are several levels of development between that. So we want to offer something similar, maybe not as intensive as you see here, maybe still a bit shorter, but to allow more opportunities for people to see the different levels. And so we can have a little bit more comprehensive support for people at every single level.
Question. Right, thank you, Marco. You're doing a wonderful job, by the way. I want to turn it over to Robbie, who's going to talk about item number 5.
Thank you, Ricky, and good afternoon, everybody. What we have facing us by the time we are back in mid-January, we're going to have major location changes for 2 very important operations. The OCTM, the Office of Classroom Technology Management, will be moving from its current location in the R building to the T building. And District IT's current location is where they're headed. And accordingly, District IT will be making a move to the A building. This is necessitated because there's a further build out of the college's professional learning center and also some related activities. And so in a sense, OCTM, which has been in one location for a long time, is going to be, we need to let people know that it's moved because it is basically customer facing in some regard. And just a few quick details here. OCTM is moving to T243. That's a suite of offices. It includes 3 offices in particular, 243A, 243B, 243C. That will be where you can find Sean and Eric and Majda. District IT, who currently reside in T243, are moving to A103A suite of offices. That includes the 3 offices, 103A1, 103A2, and 103A3. And Sean, thank you. You advanced quickly to the timeline. Right, thank you. Could you back up just perfect? So in a sense, this is just a quick picture that you have in front of you. You can see the first one shows where the A103 suites are. It's kind of a cut-in, but if you know a very large conference room, A101, this is adjacent to that. It is a rather secure entry point. So basically, District IT does not normally take in traffic aside from authorized personnel. So that actually will work pretty well for them. What's still to come is that we need to make some adjustments for additional storage in the back room there you see, which is full of other storage places, and also some adjustments in terms of more network drops in that building. But it's not going to hold up our movement, which we want to have them move first, so we can move the second team over. That movement with the timeline is that we're looking into the second week of December, next week, in which the group that's already associated with District IT will occupy that space. And basically all of OCTM, they're scheduled to make their move so that it does not disrupt their current operations over the intercession. And frankly, this piece is already in motion. But I would just offer that a great deal of cooperation between the different tech teams to make sure this can take place. Very gracious of everyone.
Any questions? I want to also thank Robbie for his leadership here, and Sean, Majda, and Eric, because I went to them as we were planning out this area. And I was convinced that I wanted them to go into the BT building in a space that I think is underused. And anytime you go to someone and you're encouraging them to move, you want them to move, you need them to move. In a perfect world, you want them to move where they want to go. And so to their credit, they searched the campus and identified, this is the second area that they identified. And each time we work with them to try to pursue the area that they thought would be a better fit for them and their team. And we were able to find this space. And I also want to thank John Parker for working with the district to ensure that we could move our team into a space. What that also brings up, though, Nick and Mona, is when you all took the tour for where the Academic Senate is going in this building, and Marco, brace yourself. I hope doesn't alarm you, but what is the classroom down here that all those computers are?
112.
Right, and so I was walking the building and wanted to know like what all of this equipment there, why was it there? Because I didn't think that was a good use of space. I thought that the Academic Senate could potentially go into that space. Robbie, do you have an update? I think we are working with the district to get that stuff out of it.
If we're talking about on the other side where OCTM is, R101,
No, what is the classroom?
It's the classroom down on.
I think we're talking about R105.
oh,
So it's on the other side of the wall. It's on the other side of the wall.
No, I'm talking the one just down the hall.
It's down the hall.
Yeah,
112.
Yeah.
yeah, for many of those, and we had this challenge throughout the campus, is that if these are already set to be ETD. So it's just a matter of basically the district distribution center picking up the items and taking them away.
Yeah, so if between you and John, if you both could send an email to the district to encourage them and insist that that also be done by the time we go to break, because I think that is a better long-term location for the Academic Senate if they are okay with it, of course. And I don't know that that was included on the tour when you all took the tour.
Can I confirm that's 105
112.
and 112?
But that's something to consider, because the goal with over the break is to expand the transfer center, which then will occupy the current space that the Academic Senate is in. The desire is to have the senates, all of the senates, in this space. And what it looks like now may not be what it looks like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because, and Marco, maybe in the spring, we should probably bring back the diagram of what this space is intended to look like, because it'll look a lot different using Measure HH money, probably in the second or the third phase of Measure HH. What you see here, we were able to do without Measure HH money in order to get a professional learning center. And again, I want to commend Marco and Anna Rogers and everyone involved with getting us this far. But this is just the first phase of a two-phase approach. And we should look at that second phase approach, particularly long-term, about where the Academic Senate, Classified Senate, SPA are going to have offices down in this particular building. Any questions? I mean, at the end of the day, Nick, it'll be you all's decision and involvement as we plan out the rest of this space, what it's going to look like in the future. Hearing no questions, I'm going to turn it over to Susan to provide an update on the program review and outcome assessment website.
Okay, thank you. That website link is live in the electronic version. So if you want to explore that further, but I want to introduce Alicia Betancourt, if you have not met her, who is the faculty assessment coordinator of the city. She has been our point person for assisting individual departments and programs with program review activities, as well as, of course, student learning outcomes assessment. And I'm going to basically hand things over to her because she has all of the most recent data on where we stand from this year's program review cycle.
So I guess since I've taken over as the coordinator from Erin Detty, we have also implemented the new platform, which is Nuventive. So year by year, everything gets a little bit easier. But this year, I actually created a website dedicated to program review, and outcomes assessment. And so it's a place for anyone to go, including deans. It has a dean space in it for when deans are doing their program review as well. And it has guides, it has video tutorials. It has the new data dashboards that were created through with the research team. And I find that it has been really helpful. Many people have used it. Even I had some technological glitches with it, but that was something that was new this year. But I do need to make sure that I'm still sending out either just maybe once a month newsletter or email updates so that people don't forget that the website's there. And then one other thing I did this year was for instructional program deans. I actually created documents that has each of their programs listed with the current courses within that program, the courses that are missing core student learning outcomes, and then those courses that have been deemed active but not offered, so that they can keep updated with the courses within their different programs. And I think that has been really helpful. I know a couple of the deans have actually held meetings with their individual faculty about program review, checking in with them. So as far as instructional programs, we're at 71% complete on program review. With math, science, and nursing, they're 100% complete. So I thought that was wonderful. And then with the service area programs, I did break it into those that put in resource requests and those that do not. And right now we have 63% of service areas that do input resource requests completed with program review. So we are making good progress. This is up almost 15% from where we were a year ago at this time in service areas. So every year I kind of track that just to see where we're at.
I think the golden child would be at 100%.
I do know that service areas have made a better push. I've gone into several meetings and have worked with a lot of the different service area individuals. We have some service areas that have not completed program review in a long time or at all that have completed it this year. So it was really wonderful meeting with Lori over at ASG. Her and I sat down and talked for a long time, and we were able to highlight all the amazing things that they're doing over there. So that was really nice. So I think it's really nice to see the increase year after year of where we're at. So I'm going to continue to reach out to those that have not completed. I do have several people that I'm working with already that, you know, we've been communicating either through email or I have appointments still set up in my calendar to get those input. So I think we're making really good progress. And then in the spring, we will be working on core student learning outcomes assessment for all programs, all instructional programs. And we will be collecting data for ISLO number 2, which is information management and critical thinking. That work group is in the process of making some edits and updates to that data collection form for students and faculty based on the previous cycle with ISLO number 1. So we will be doing that. We will be collecting the data after spring break. And I think that was all I really wanted to bring up.
Alicia mentioned that we had started using a new platform for program review and assessment activities, Nuventive, and we feel like that has been a really positive move. It is much more user-friendly and much more customizable. And so every year we have added some new features. So going into this year, we were able to work with our Nuventive support team to create some reports for deans, so that anybody who oversees multiple programs where each program has a separate budget, they can go in and pull information across all of those programs and put it all together into one file, one download, instead of having to pull them each individually. And then we can do a grand one for the entire institution to feed into the resource allocation process. So those things right there are huge time savers for the folks that used to have to deal with all those separate individual spreadsheets.
And Inventive is nice in that anybody that puts in requests that they label as recurring, we're able to repopulate them from year to year. So things like instructional supplies, things like that, that are just something that, you know, most programs ask for, they get repopulated every year in the fall. So programs just need to check the actual number and if there's still the recurring need for it, but that also saves time in the process from doing the old spreadsheets. So that's also been helpful.
Any questions about program review? You all seem so excited about program review. It is absolutely necessary, and when we have a visit in 6 or so years, you know, it's going to be necessary to be able to track the data that was presented in terms of progress that we're making. So thank you for your leadership. You know, I was listening to you reference taking this on after Aaron Daddy, and I was like, well, you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
21, is it 21 that I started?
I think so.
So again, thank you for your leadership. If there are no, yes.
I just also want to echo that gratitude to Alicia. You've been holding our hand in Senate just as long as I've been around, so I appreciate it. Otherwise, I don't know if it would get done. So I know that, yeah, your contributions are really important, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I enjoy getting to talk to people and see all the good things that are going on, so. Yeah.
And, you know, she's here to highlight what she's doing, but she's also here to document that we had a discussion about program review.
Yes.
In college council. So again, thank you for your leadership. There are no other questions. We will keep moving on. Marcela's going to take item number 7.
Yeah, just so real quick, last week before last, I don't know when it all blends together.
Last week,
we had a meeting with the muralists, who painted the mural that's currently in the cafeteria. As many of you know, as part of the A building expansion, the cafeteria will get redone, and so we were trying to figure out what will happen to that mural. Thanks to Ricky's kind of foresight, he reached out to Anna, is muralist's name, pretty early on, to just let her know, hey, this is happening. We'll work with you. As things develop, she got a little antsy and just wanted to really kind of get ahead of it. So I think we had a pretty positive meeting with her. She came, she brought some folks from Chicano Studies, she brought folks from the Centro Cultural, and then someone that's an architect or an engineer who has done some moving of murals. So all that to say is that what we've told her and shared with her is that no decisions have been made yet. We will continue to keep her updated as we make plans for the A building expansion. We've given her some options to think about. So one of the options is that if the mural can be moved, we would look to see about getting it moved. And then we will work with her and Chicano Studies to figure out whether the mural will go in the new A building space, or whether it will be placed someplace else on campus. That's one option. The second option is to leave it currently where it is, and then try and figure out, work with our current design team to figure out, can that space be repurposed in the new place so that the mural can stay intact, and maybe that becomes a conference room or something that can be used, and so that it stays there. But the third thing that we did agree to do is that we will digitize the mural so that we have it, and then it gives us some different options in terms of what we might be able to do with the mural at a different or a later date. Also with the ultimate goal that whatever happens, the goal is to protect the mural, whether that's again staying where it is or moving it, that she has our commitment, and we will work with her to make sure that the mural is taken care of and not get damaged and things like that. So we're working with her. She and I have agreed that we'll convene again, I think in January, because by then we might have a little bit more updates in what options we have. And I've already presented it to our design team that we're working with for the A building expansion. And they were going to have their team come out and take a look and try and figure out what options they have up front. So more to come, but I thought it was a good meeting and just at least to make sure that if people are rest assured that the mural is going to be protected, and that we absolutely have every plan of including the muralist in whatever plan we develop for where it's gonna be or how it's gonna be treated in the current one.
Yeah, and I would add, and I know Marciano, he said this, but I just wanna tease it out a little bit. He's focusing on the muralist, but that includes Chicano studies because it is, I wanna say it's their mural, we're just gonna refer to it that way, right? Of course, it's the colleges and the students, but Justin Akers was instrumental in the Chicano studies. It was my suggestion that it go where it is, but it was their desire to have a mural to celebrate their 50th anniversary. And so they are involved in this as well. Matter of fact, we went to them first and then invited them to join us in the meeting with the murals. But I want to echo that we did this before any decisions were made, knowing that when you do something like this, you want to get the blessing of the muralist in terms of what happens to it. So in a perfect world, if we could, we would pick up the mural and find somewhere for it to go in the new design. What we don't know, because we haven't gotten that far yet, is whether or not we can do that. And so we learned some things. One of them being that if we can't move it, that she desires for the mural to be preserved no matter what. Even if that includes putting drywall on top of it. You know, we've got some work to do. We'll keep you all updated as well once we make any decisions. But as Marciano said, the next steps will be a follow-up meeting once we hear from the designers as to what the option is. Our goal is to present the muralist with 3 options. It can go here, it can go there, it can go here. And then embed in the new location design more information about her as a muralist, because right now her signature's there, but no one knows who really did it. So we could have a QR code with her bio and who she is embedded into the new design. But it was a lively discussion. We learned some things, and I do think I might have scared her a little bit when I reached out to her, but I assured her like we were doing this early enough that we haven't made a decision. So we'd rather know what her where do we have her blessings? What is her desire, as well as Chicano studies. Any questions about that? Now that also, and I'm going to go into item 8. That also led to discussions, at least on 2 cases, of people who are not necessarily on the planning design team in the A building expansion, who desire to be involved at a level that's going to warrant a conversation between myself and Mona, because you already have faculty classified constituency groups who are directly impacted by this design. And there are others who are interested, rightfully so, in having a more active role than we anticipated in some of these activities. So we need to figure that piece out. Of course, we're all about inclusion. So the goal is never to exclude, but when you have constituency groups who are directly impacted by these decisions, usually that is the primary group that we rely on to include any final designs coming here to College Council for us to be able to ask those groups feedback. So we're working through that. And one example would be, now that we know that Chicano Studies is interested, as they should be, in having some involvement in where the new mural goes, we've got to factor that into the design of the building. So now it's not just where the muralist wants it to go. You know, we also want to respect the wishes and desires of Chicano Studies, who initiated the mural in the first place. So that's an example of this that I don't know that we thought about when we were initiating the design teams for this. But there is no to be clear, there is no design yet for the 8 building expansion, like that is what is occurring as we speak. And the other thing I think that led to this is there's a very high probability that the cafeteria where it currently is not where it will be when the design concept is done, right? So you need to find somewhere for the mural to go. We wanted in a high traffic area. We use that space now for board meetings and in ways that we did not use before that, speakers, things. And so I think we got more than we expected out of that mural, and we wanted to have a proper space in the new location. We just don't know when and or how. Any other updates about Measure HH?
Just one, if you haven't been by 16th Street, we have bulldozers and earth movers that now begin.
We can drive those.
We can, we should have a professional development session, so that we can get up there and drive, but there's a
We gotta get down.
Jeff's got a
But,
new career.
yes. They're moving earth today. They were taking up some of the roots of trees on the south end of the lot, so they'll start. Well, they already started grading it now, so they're moving this into action, and we should have a couple cranes here in the spring as we start going. That's it for HH.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of questions. Oh, maybe not a lot. We've been getting questions though about the selection process and what's going to happen in the student housing. We're not there yet. I think those discussions are going to start in January, being led by the district. But we will communicate that through our normal process of working with the academic senate and all the constituency groups to get people in those discussions when the time is. I can assure you that Marciano, if you don't know, has a background in student housing. And while he doesn't desire to go back into that background, his office is going to need to be involved in some capacity, student life and that sort of thing. We have not had those discussions yet, but we do have models of practice from other community colleges that have built student housing over the last 2 to 5 years. And so those discussions will take place or really will launch in the spring. We don't have that information yet ourselves, so we're asking some of the same questions.
There's a basic needs summit that is, that's happening, I want to say it's either this month or in January. And Adon and some of the folks from the city are going because the school that is hosting it has student housing that they built. And so we're gonna go and also learn a little bit about how they planned for this. So what were the pitfalls that they wish somebody had told them when they were building this out to pay attention. We've got some colleagues in the system that are happy to share with us what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go around real quick and inquire, because you sparked something, Marcelo. Can you share with the group the field trip that you took?
Yeah,
Two Fridays.
2 Fridays ago, we boarded 38 of us boarded a bus over by the MS parking structure, and with the designers and the contractors, and we went to 3 different locations. We went to Southwestern College and toured their new student union and student services buildings. We went over to Cuyamaca to look at their new buildings, and then we went over to Mesa, even though theirs is not new. The folks that we're working with are the ones that designed and built out that the Mesa project. And so it was nice because they basically walked us through these spaces and showed us how they're laid out. So we got a feel for, hey, this would work at city, this wouldn't work at city. They had a QR code. So at the end of every time we left the space, we actually did a workshop on the bus, and they walked us through like, hey, what did you notice about this? What did you notice about that? They collected a lot of feedback. And so one of the interesting things that came from it was that, depending on the group, because there were 38 of us, different groups wanted different things. And there was some groups that loved the high ceilings in some places, and other folks that were like, absolutely not, we don't want that, we want glass. No, we don't want glass, we want sliding glass doors, we don't want them, so we gave the design team a lot to think about. And so this coming Friday is our Eco Charrette that's happening over in the MS building. So they'll be coming by, and basically what they're gonna do is they've compiled all of this feedback, and they will now start asking folks for us to start making some decisions about, like, what do we want to see? Like, what is our real interest? And so it was great because we got, Alan was there with his team to really be thinking about, from the ASG and student club perspective, what those spaces are. And if any of you have not been to Southwestern or Fremont and seen their ASG student spaces, like, they're phenomenal. Like, they are really, really beautiful spaces. So it gave us a lot of like excitement about what we could build here. And then it was just a funny thing, and I hate that this is being recorded because I'm gonna say it is that no one liked the Mesa one. Like, there was absolutely not a single thing that people. So the design team just kind of laughed at us and was just like, "Is it because it's Mesa, or just you really didn't like it?" And we just realized that it just doesn't fit. Like, that building, the way that it's set up, it wouldn't work here, right? Like, it wouldn't fit with downtown, which is really why I think they didn't like it. But we learned some things. It was great because they had folks from their teams at all three campuses that met us and kind of walked us through how they went about kind of designing theirs and what they kind of kept in mind. And there were some things that they shared with us in terms of, hey, like, if we could redo this again today, we would do this differently. And some of those related to, like, access from the outside of a building versus the inside of a building. There were some things related to noise and having noise panels in certain areas that we hadn't thought about. And so it was great because the design team was like, oh, that's great for us to know as we're building this out. So yeah, a lot of excitement. And it was a good team of folks that night.
Andy, any updates on Seville?
Yeah, we're going to Morse High School this Friday for visit their theater. We will be going to Southwestern College, and we're gonna be going to, what's the one at UC High School at
UC High?
Royce, yeah, we're gonna be going to Royce as well. We've had 2 workshops where we looked at what we said what we wanted in there, and we've got many departments involved in it, so it's great. One design is moving the facing of the stage where it is now. It kind of faces to or it's on the north side to make it west. So we walk in from west. So that was the one that everybody liked. Talking about a lot of opportunities with some partners we have already out there in especially in film and technology. So we geeked out. We learned a lot of good stuff. We have a guy from San Francisco who comes down who has designed many theaters, and it's great to have his guidance. But it's all fun, and it's everybody's really excited about it. There's a lot of understanding that comes from each of the teams, that really adds to, I think, what will be just a phenomenal end product. What do you think, Sean?
It's been a lot of fun. It's a fun group. It's a fun project. The input has been really concrete in terms of the direction that it's going.
Yeah, and I'm sharing these things because this is where it starts to get a little interesting when we have folks who are not in these meetings who all of a sudden, want to be engaged in these discussions. And, of course, these discussions are open to anyone who would like to come, but the main focus groups are the people who are utilizing these facilities. And so we will get to see them when those groups make their final decisions. They'll come back here and we'll get to see each one of these spaces when they're at a point that we're ready to see them. I am reluctant to do, but I'm going to do it. We met with our coaches about the soccer field. They were adamant about having artificial turf. And it wasn't in the plan. And we behind the scenes have been advocating very hard for the district. There was about $800,000 to $1 million difference between natural grass and artificial turf, and that money has to come from somewhere. And the coaches were so adamant that behind the scenes, we were advocating with the district to try to figure out how to come up with the money through Measure HH. There's not a magic money printing. And the designers did more thorough research and agreed with the research that the coaches presented. And I don't want to give a percentage, but and because I haven't got, well, I guess technically I have gotten it in writing, but it looks like we're going to be able to respond to the request and get artificial turf. I'm reluctant because there are some math formulas involved in this, Nick, with the selling of bonds and when you can sell the money and when you have the money on hand, that is not penciling out to me. When I have, well, I've asked Aaron Detty and John to meet with Lance at the district and just get like a triple check, because when you make these kind of announcements, like our reputation and our name are on the line, right? If I say somebody's gonna leave and say, Ricky said they're getting artificial turf. And what I don't want it to happen, because it's out of my control, is for us to get to that point in the district say, oh, well, we thought we were gonna have this 800,000, but we don't, because Marciano's folks got sliding glass doors and everything they went. So
Remember, we want 420 seats.
yeah, I mean, so those are the kind of things that kind of factor into, in the more technical term, it's called cost overrun, right? So when you build something, when you design something today, does it ever come in cheaper tomorrow? Like normally you have cost escalation. And so so far it looks like we've been successful in advocating for artificial turf. I'm gonna have a meeting with the coaches once I'm comfortable telling them that we're gonna have artificial turf. But I'm worried about cost escalation with these projects coming significantly over their initial bid amounts, which then you're gonna need to try to find $800 to $1 million. But we are doing everything possible to try to, I mean, because in my world, we want to go back to the coaches and say, you're going to get artificial turf. And we're close to it. I don't want to give a probability or a percentage, but it's higher than it was when we went into that meeting. Let me say that. And the way we're able to do this is because about 850 million is sitting in an account accruing interest. And so this is where the math gets involved in terms of when does the first nail get hammered or concrete gets poured, and all of those things connected to the cost escalation as to whether or not we could generate that $800 to $1 million to get the coaches and our athletes in our college artificial turf. But we're closer to getting it than we were initially. And so that's some news to provide as well. Any questions on Measure HH? Campus safety, John.
Yes, thank you. We have signed the requisition and the quote for 2 new blue light emergency call boxes. And the ball is rolling on that to get them installed. Do not have an ETA on the.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is here.
Yes, right outside here on the west side of the building and on the east side of the LRC parking lot 8. Also, the handouts that you have. Screenshots, as was requested during our last meeting, of the steps to register phone numbers and email for the SDCCD, my SDCCD RAID alerts. And it's just an easy 5-step process. Once we log in, since we have the single sign-on, once you log into your computer, you click on my SDCCD, you don't have to log in anymore. And just click on the employee dashboard, my personal info, contact info, and input your cell phone number. I highlighted there the preferred, that check mark. Once you click on your mobile phone, which it should be for RAID mobile alerts, you'll want to check that box, so that is the preferred, because there's an option for home phone number. If you can put that, I'd recommend the mobile, select that as the preferred. And also in that same menu is the email. You'll see the email again. Email, I have both my personal and my work email, so I will receive alerts on both email. This is being uploaded to our website. It was requested, I believe, a short video. We have not been able to get to the video, but we'll do a quick walkthrough video. It'll take probably 20 seconds. We'll work on that, but this is available. If not, it will be available within the next day or so on the safety website. Any questions regarding the rave and overall the app itself, or just signing up?
We do need your help with this. So as you go into meetings, please, if you could share this information for people to update it. I know I make it a regular habit when I go into a meeting inquiring how many people have downloaded the app. And now I've included this as well. It's going to take the entire campus to help ensure that people are aware of how to get these communications from the district and or the college when something happens, particularly because we're moving away from our LiveSafe app into going into now what amounts to 2 different systems to communicate alerts on campus.
So, can I just clarify, so this would be for anything that happens on campus? Or is it only for certain facilities? Yeah.
So it is still, how
It's similar to what is pushed out in the Live Safe alert. So I really don't know what's determined from the dispatch point of view of how they determine what gets pushed out.
yeah, so what's different and why this is hard, why I hesitated on this, that what makes this difficult, well, not difficult, different than the LiveSafe app. We were in control of the LiveSafe app. Now the district is also a party in this in a way that we haven't experienced this yet. And so we have control to send messages. There's a select group, and then the district does. Where the district has, because this is new to the district, we were the only one that had the LiveSafe app. Where we, and I think Nick and Sunal kind of alluded to this, where we're learning it, since the district has never done this before, we don't know how, if something happens at Miramar, how the app or the push out is going to work, if it's going to go out the entire district or if they have the ability to just do it for the entire campus. And I'm not sure that they know that yet.
Yeah, well, they don't. They said that they believe we can do it by campus, and we'll have an update in our next meeting, our next health and safety.
I just wanted to say I had a little concern about that too, because if they're only going to send it out to campuses, a lot of people go attend different campuses for different things. How do they know which campus you're on? I don't know. It seemed like a strange system to try to send it out to individual campuses. And I thought that it would be more appropriate that they use it sparingly to send it out to the entire district. Would be my recommendation.
Yeah, so we'll have as Ricky mentioned, it is a little disjointed because they have not had it before, whereas we have. In the dashboard he was talking about, and LiveSafe, I call it the dashboard on my computer, we control that, the district did not. So now it's the 2 of us, and we'll have to communicate any message that goes out with the 2 of us before they go on.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't think that some of the folks thought this through at the level that they're getting inquiries, Nick, like you just gave, and we had given them the same communication feedback. And it even gets more complicated when you think of the College of Continuing Education. What do they have? 8 sites, right? You have people going between sites. This gets difficult to manage in a way that neither the district nor the colleges have had to do, because we had our own system and we had control of when we sent the message out or not. And so, like anything new, it's going to have some bugs. We saw it with the incident a couple of weeks ago. And I wish I could say that they worked through all of this, but we haven't. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we just don't know, so I'll wait and see.
Yeah,
Update to follow.
but typically it follows the Clery Act requirement type stuff, right? Active shooter, an attempted assault, an assault, fire, the standard, Clery Act, emergency response type things. Where this is going to get very tricky now is that now it's the entire district. And so they have not had to try to use this on something that happens at one of the CE campuses. And maybe that person is an adjunct at CE and city. Or the student goes to city and CE.
So, okay, I have like a logistical question, because the new app is not gonna be pushing it, or it's going out a different way?
So the new app does not do what our LiveSafe app does. So it is not an alert system. It is more a campus safety in a sense of communicating with the police, or if you need an escort. Yes, it is not a notification.
But did LiveSafe previously, okay, so then there's that change. I wonder if in the current system, if there is a way for people to register their campus as an option, so then they can decide which campuses they get notifications from.
Yes, so that's what they're working on, and I think this may have come up from Richard at one of the district governance council meetings when they were so. And I think the world of our colleagues, but the folks who initiated this did not, because they didn't have the level of experience with this that we do, they didn't think through some of these things, and now they're having to go back after they're hearing this stuff and figure it out.
Okay, two things. I would actually encourage, like Nick said, to have it go out to everybody, because while some people might teach on multiple campuses, I'm a person who travels to all the campuses on different days that aren't set. So if there was something happening at Miramar, I might be going up there, or Mesa. I might be going to Mesa, but not actually know, because I don't technically work at Mesa.
Right.
So there's that, and I think there are other people who'd say. But I wanted to ask John, because I didn't see the send out generally to the campus,
It hasn't gone.
but it will be? Okay, awesome, thank you.
Any other questions?
One last safety update. We received a response from Get It Done San Diego. You may recall, we submitted several requests for the broken or outed lights around campus. And they responded, the average, guess what the average wait time is?
6 months.
500 days. Go approaching 500 days, is the average wait for non-emergencies, which this is classified as. Average means it could be a little over or a lot over.
So not having lights on the street between a college and a high school is non-emergency.
So we said we escalated as a safety issue, and they forwarded it to what's called the street department, who will follow up with us regarding that escalation, but it's not an automatic escalation. They're just having to follow up with us. I'm meeting with our council member, Whitburn. Actually, they responded today with some options to be regarding parking, and we've added safety and lighting. Both us and San Diego High School have added safety, and they're meeting with the mayor's office. So we're going to escalate that as was recommended, councilman.
Can we get Jack in an email to the mayor's office and have Jack escalate this to the mayor's office?
Yes. That's it.
Any other? So for those of you who don't know, the lights along Russ from Park all the way to 16th have been out. Of course, we didn't. It's more of a concern now that daylight savings has occurred, and we're working through the channels to get them to address these things. And in a perfect world, we would just go change the lights ourselves, but that would get us in a whole host of other situations. But we will continue to advocate with our elected officials to address this. Any questions about campus safety? Hearing none, item 10 is just the meeting dates for spring semester. So we do have one more meeting on the 16th, and then after that, our first meeting of spring semester will be on February 10th. With that said, are there any updates for the good of the back? Hearing that, good to see you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. The college council is adjourned. Oh, we do have the holiday party on December 17th. But that is after the next meeting, so we'll put that back on the next agenda. Take care.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing.